Welcome to the second lesson in our financial literacy unit. In this lesson, we'll look at something called interest, and we'll talk about two different kinds of interest, simple and compound. So first, let's understand what interest is. So if you are investing money, let's say you're putting money in an account that earns interest, what that means is you're taking your money and you're putting it in an account at a bank or some other financial institution. The bank then is going to use that money to invest and make more money. And then you get part of that money they make in the form of interest. So if you put your money in an account that earns interest, you could put, let's say, $500 in that account. If you come back a year later, even if you haven't put any more money in that account yourself, there will be more money in the account than what you put there originally. It might just be a little bit, but it's still free money. You're getting the interest, part of the interest that the bank earned by investing your money. Now, interest can also work against you. So when you take out a loan or when you use a credit card, you have to pay that money back. And with a loan, you have to pay back more than what you took out. So let's say you took out a loan for $10,000 to buy a car. And let's say that loan is over 3 years. So you're going to have 3 years to pay that back. You're going to pay back more than $10,000. That's how the bank makes money, by offering loans, because they charge you interest. So you're going to have to pay a certain percentage above the amount of the loan back. That's interest. With a credit card, if you use a credit card to purchase an item, and then when your credit card bill comes, if you don't have the money to pay the whole amount and you just pay part of that amount, then the next month when you get your bill, they're going to have added interest, because essentially what you've done with that credit card is you've used it like a loan. You've used it to buy something that you really didn't have enough money to buy. And so you now basically have a loan from the credit card company. So you're now going to earn interest, or going to owe interest. So two kinds of interest. One of them is simple interest. The way that simple interest works is that you're going to earn an interest rate on a fixed amount of money. So whatever money you put in the account to begin with, that's what you're going to earn interest on for the duration of that account. With compound interest, a little bit different, you're actually going to earn interest on top of interest. So if you put $500 in the account, and then at the end of that year, let's say it compounds annually, so it compounds once a year, then at the end of that first year, whatever's in the account now, they're going to calculate your interest on that new amount. So you're actually getting interest on top of interest. The money that you put in an account at the beginning, an account that earns interest, that original amount of money is called the principal. Same with a loan. If you take out a loan for $10,000 to buy a car, your principal is $10,000. That's the original amount of the loan. And so with simple interest, you're only earning interest on that original principal. But in compound interest, they're going to add your interest to the principal, and then that becomes your new principal for the next year. Then they'll add that interest to your principal, and that becomes the new principal for the next year. So let's first look at simple interest. On your formula chart, you have the formula for simple interest. It looks like this. It says I equals PRT. Well, if you don't know what those stand for, then the formula isn't very useful. So it's interest equals principal times rate times time. So that I is the amount of the interest, not the new amount that will be in the account at the end. It's just the interest that will be added to it. P for principal, that's the amount that you started with. R is rate. It'll always be a percent. Just remember, before you can calculate with a percent, move that decimal 2 to the left so that you're calculating with the decimal form of that percent. T is time, and that will typically be years. So in this example with simple interest, that says the table shows the simple interest on an investment of $2,000 with an interest rate of 3% for 4 years. So our principal is $2,000. Our interest rate is 3%, but remember, before we can calculate with that, we've got to move the decimal 2 to the left. So when we calculate, we'll have 0.03, and then our time is 4 years. So to figure out how much interest we'll earn on this account, we'll use the formula interest equals principal times rate times time. So interest equals 2,000 times 0.03 times 4. And that'll give us our interest. So let's go ahead and calculate. So let's do 2,000 times 0.03, so 3%. Then we'll just add. And then in the problem, we had 2 digits following the decimal. So in our answer, we'll have 2 digits following the decimal. So that gave us 60, and then that's times 4. So 60 times 4 equals 240. So the interest you would earn in that account over 4 years is $240. Now, that might not sound like a lot over the course of 4 years, but remember that's free money. You put $2,000 in the account, you come back 4 years later, there's now $240 more in the account. So it's free money. So while it might not be a lot, it's still free money that you didn't have to do anything to earn. Now, if I want the new balance that's in the account, so what's in there now at the end of the 4 years, then I would take my $2,000 and add the $240 that I got in interest. So now that account has $2,240. That would be the new balance. This would be the interest. So you have to be really careful when you're answering a question related to interest and make sure you know, am I being asked for just the amount of the interest, in which case I just use the formula and I'm done? Or am I being asked for the new balance, in which case I use the formula and then add that interest back to my original principal? Now let's look at a compound interest example. So this one says Marcy deposited $1,000 into a savings account that earns 4% compounded interest, compounded annually. Annually just means each year. Use the table to calculate the interest Marcy will earn after 3 years. So her starting balance or her principal is $1,000. So to get her interest after 1 year, we'll do principal times rate. It was 4%, so 0.04, times time. This is just going to be 1 year. We're just calculating year 1. So 1,000 times 0.04. And then we'll just add. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. Whoops. So at the end of year 1, she would have earned $40 in interest. Now here's what makes compound interest different. For year 2, you're going to take that $40 and add it to the 1,000. So for year 2, they're going to take the interest on $1,040. So you'll do $1,040 times 0.04 times 1, because this is just year 2, just 1 full year. And so now we'll do that calculation. So $1,040 times 0.04. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. And 4 times 1. And then we're just multiplying by 0. And then we'll add. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. So in year 2, she's going to earn $41.60. And at the end of year 2, they'll take that money and add it to what was already there. So now she'll have $1,081.60. So to calculate the interest for year 3, they'll take that new amount. So $1,081.60 times 0.04 times 1, because this is just 1 year. Let's see what I have right up here. So $1,081.60 times 0.04. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. And 4 times 1 is 4. Done with those. 0 over. And then everything else is just a 0. And then we'll add. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this 3rd year, she's going to earn $43. 1, 2, 3, 4. $43.26. And then at the end of that 3rd year, they'll add that to what was there. So to get her new balance after 3 years, we would take $1,081.60 and add what she earned at the end of that 3rd year, which is $43.26. So her balance at the end of 3 years would be $1,124.86. So with compound interest, a little bit different because they're not just going back to the original principal every time they calculate your interest. They are taking your interest from the previous year, adding that to your principal, and then calculating your interest for the next year based on that new principal, and then adding that at the end of the year and calculating your interest on that new principal. So the amount of interest that you're getting is going up. The percent is not. It was 4% every time, but because they were taking 4% of a slightly larger number, the amount of interest that you earn at the end of each year is going up every single year. So compound interest is going to grow much more quickly than simple interest. And that is it for simple and compound interest. If you have some questions, please ask those. If you're ready for the skill check, that should be open and ready to go. Thanks. Have a fantastic day.